Hello and welcome to the front office. My name is Jordan.
My name's Ron.
And I'm Mark.
Ron is going to be filling in for our good friend Peter, who is out of town. We wish him well in Texas. We know it's not very ginger friendly there, but nonetheless, we're very excited to have Ron on the show. Once again, this is the front office, Switzerland's #1 American football talk show.
Let's go Swiss!
Continue to dominate that market. Ratings just through the roof. This week, our hashtag of the week is Blood and Guts, and to that we are. Ron served us I believe, what's it called again?
Michelada.
A michelada.
Mexican delight.
There we go.
Ooh,
Cheers.
Yummy.
To Blood and Guts, right here.
That's what I'm talking about.
Michelada is also our sponsor of the week, which is not a company, but none of our sponsorships are real on this
anyway,
show.
so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, there you go.
We just run with it.
Exactly. Vine video of the week, Mark.
What's his? I can't pronounce his name, so I'm gonna. What is?
Taliaferro?
Taliaferro?
It's a shot in the dark too.
The Baltimore Ravens guy, when he was showing the ref his slick dance moves. I think the ref tried to ignore him for a second, but he got right back in there. He didn't let down. I don't know if he was trying to draw a penalty or show him dance moves, or maybe he's the next NFL player to come out, but hey, it looked good.
We're not making assumptions on this show.
He's safe, he's drafted already.
He's already on a team getting paid big bucks. He can do what he wants.
Love it. On this week's show, we're going to be Fapping Picture of the Week is Sofia Vergara, so be sure to stick around for that. We all love her. Not this part so much, but the rest. That's not because she's a woman, that's because she can't speak English. And exactly. So we're gonna, as always, we're gonna do our upsets. We're gonna take our deep dive. This week we're talking Kansas City going into San Francisco and the QB drama that is inherent within it. We're gonna do our power rankings, first official front office power rankings here on the show. So that's all when we come back here on the front office.
Yeah, it's enough calories for it.
Oh, is it?
I better get another one.
You never had Clamato before?
Welcome back to the front office. Right now what we're going to talk about is we're going to look back to last week. We're going to talk about our upset of the week, and then we're also going to look back at our prediction with the Baltimore-Carolina game. But first, our upset, we picked the Tampa Bay over Pittsburgh. And the reason we picked it was purely the fact that it's Tampa Bay, and they're beating Pittsburgh, who in our previous shows we talked about Pittsburgh being a legitimate team, and they're looking good this year, and Tampa Bay beat them at home. I mean, I'd say that's pretty exciting for Tampa Bay. So
yeah, I would have to agree. This is a team, Pittsburgh, who went and crushed Carolina. A team that a lot of people saw, me included, as a playoff contender and a contender to win their division. And they came out and they absolutely fell flat against, let me take that back. They didn't fall flat against Tampa Bay, but they ended up getting beat. They left the game open too long, and Tampa Bay was able to get some momentum going in the second half and come back and win. I think a lot of that is due to Mike Lennon and the difference he brings to this team. I didn't necessarily agree with them bringing in Josh McCown over Mike Lennon. I get it. I understand it. He had a great year last year. New coaching staff. They might not be bought in on Mike Lennon.
yeah,
But he showed he could play last year. He had 19 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Numbers that I compared on last week's show to Matt Ryan in his rookie year. Very similar, kind of these gawky guys, but they're strangely athletic, right? And he came in and he proved what he adds to that team. He didn't do it for the entire game, but he did it when it counts.
Yeah. Right, and I think Tampa Bay came back off such a crushing defeat the week before. I think there's, you gotta give him credit for really getting back. I think Lovey's doing a great job with the team.
Yeah.
They're gonna be something to watch this year.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. I like that too, because one of the things I think about Tampa Bay too, none of us have taken them seriously so far. I don't think anybody has. And I feel like this was a must-win game for them. They fought hard.
Yeah.
Like Pittsburgh ran the game. And they still kept it within a touchdown, and then what do? They go to their go-to guy on the touchdown pass, Vincent Jackson, and made it happen. Like, of course they're going to make those big plays, but they needed to win that game if they wanted to have any chance at having a decent season. Not saying they're going to the playoffs, but at least having a decent season so they can look forward. Yeah.
And that's interesting, because I was wondering how, when you brought up Lovie Smith, how he was going to be able to take this young team and bounce back from a 50-point shellacking.
Right. I mean, a national shellacking.
Yeah, national
Everybody's
shellacking.
watching that game.
As a Rams fan, I've been on the opposite side of that many a time. and I've seen teams crumble from that.
Sure.
And so it's good to see them bounce back because I have a lot of faith in Lovie Smith. And when he got killed like that on national TV on prime time, I was a little concerned and saying maybe Lovie's of a bygone era. Maybe his time is kind of over as a head coach, and that made me kind of sad because he came up as a defensive coordinator for the Rams. I think there's a lot of talent here, and I was wondering, and see them bounce back was actually really refreshing, and I'm happy for them. I'm really happy for them. But it also begs the question, so was Tampa Bay that bad before without Mike Glennon? And is Pittsburgh legit, or is Carolina in that much trouble being absolutely blown out by Pittsburgh and then having Pittsburgh not just go and do the same to a team that just got blown out? Ron?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think Pittsburgh right now is in a very consistent place with their gameplay. I feel like that's the same with Carolina as well. So, I think it's still very early in the season, and to take these games as measuring sticks as opposed to looking at the overall season, I think it's probably a little bit too early to tell. Yeah. But I still, those aren't teams that I would bet on at all. I really wouldn't do it.
Yeah, and I especially even with Carolina, their defense hasn't been what it was last year so far. They still have an outstanding talent on that team. They're just not showing up and doing what they need to do. And their offense, they lost Steve Smith, and Steve Smith comes back and crushes them last week. And
I don't think there's any way they're winning that game in Baltimore.
Yeah, really, there wasn't. But,
there's no chance.
Carolina's just going to have a hard time the rest of the season, I think. I think we're going to see a lot of bouncing around back and forth games. I think the same thing with Pittsburgh. I agree like that. So I think that's really what it was. So we'll see how it goes. This is NFL. You never know what happens.
So speaking of Steve Smith and Carolina, last week we predicted...
Round of applause for the front office on how we did on that.
There you
Crushed
go.
it.
We predicted Baltimore would win it. Heavy rushing game, absolutely what they did. 30 rushes for 127, 125 yards in that area. One of the most efficient teams at running the ball, most dedicated to that. And they got a little luck along the way, but they still beat the absolute snot out of the Carolina Panthers at home. To be expected to a degree. But Steve Smith, he got what he wanted. He got his blood and guts. So I guess a little cheers to
Steve.
Cheers.
Not bad.
Which is absolutely fantastic. I've never had one of those before, I have to say.
Savory.
It's pretty good.
It's delightful.
That little rub really adds something.
Absolutely.
What's the red coloring?
It's Clamato.
I don't know what that is.
I think clams in liquid form.
Yummy!
Go with that.
I really like clams. I had Clams Casino once and I vomited it up very shortly after.
That's a bad Clams Casino.
Yeah.
So, just a little part of the show, we like to pat ourselves in the back and say, how great we are, and you guys should really, vibe with that.
It was the first week we all picked the same team, but we all had to. It was a hands down pick.
There you go. Coming up here, now we're going to talk a little power rankings. Something we haven't done yet on the show. Something that you see all over CBS, ESPN, any of those other sports networks that I probably shouldn't have named. But we're going to go through and give us our top 5. Each of us is going to do our top 5. Mark, let's start with you. Who do you have in your top 5?
I'm going number 1 at the Bengals. They're undefeated so far, and I think they have one of the best rounded teams out there. They have the best defense out there on the field right now. They've got the running game going for them. And I mentioned this before the show, I'm not high on Andy Dalton. He can still get the job done. He's still a good quarterback. He still has his moments of falling, and hopefully if he doesn't do that too much, they can stay up there. But, everything's working for them right now. And I see them going to the playoffs for sure. Maybe Andy Dalton throws it away, but right now they're still my number 1, just based on those facts. Moving down the list, I'm taking Seahawks at number 2. They're the defending Super Bowl champs, and they've only lost 1 game, but I'm not going to hold that against them. They still have, when you got Russell Wilson, he's been a rookie quarterback, and he hasn't let that slow him down at all. The guy just takes off with the game. He makes plays himself. Their running game is great. Marshawn Lynch, they can always count on him. They also have one of the best defenses in the league, so I'm still going with them. And then I'm taking the Broncos at number 3. Obviously, they went to the Super Bowl last year. Their team's looking better this year, I think, just because they've upped their defense. They still lost to the Seahawks, which is why I'm bumping them down below the Seahawks, so I'm taking them at number 3. Number 4, I have the Chargers. They're 3-1, and they are looking great. Phillip Rivers is on point. He was last year. He's doing it again this year. He's finding the right connections with his receivers. They're having a rough time with their running game, and they need to keep that stable to keep the whole thing moving forward. But I still think they have one of the best chances of going to the Super Bowl. Number 5 is where I'm going to surprise you guys. But I picked the Eagles.
Okay, thank God, because we were exactly the same.
Oh, really?
Exactly.
I got a couple mixed
He
up.
cheated.
Oh,
I think he
okay.
cheated on him.
No, but I'm going to take the Eagles because I realize the Eagles haven't played really tough teams so far, but they are still 3-1. I mean, they were undefeated up until they ran up against the Niners.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: when they played the Niners, they almost beat the Niners. I mean, that was
play that well.
and they didn't play that well. And that's the thing: even beating these I shouldn't say crappy teams, I guess, but these lower-ranking teams, they didn't play that well. They still won the games. And here's the thing: looking back to last year, they still have one of the best running back cores in the league. They've got LaShawn McCoy, Darren Sproles, who's killing it right now.
Yeah.
You got Nick Foles, who we've seen some errors from him. We're not used to that. Last year, he didn't make a lot of those. But I feel like they certainly can be better, and I think we're going to see them be a lot better moving forward. And they're 3-1 right now. And if they get better and can still win games, I see them moving forward and taking their division. So
I know
that's why I'm putting them there.
I wouldn't have put them in my top 5, but what I do like about the Eagles pick is you know what they have on offense. You know what they're going to be able to do. They know what Chip Kelly brings to that.
Absolutely.
What a lot of people don't know about is their defense is actually pretty talented. It's loaded with young talent right now. There's a lot of pass rushers. One guy I particularly like to watch is Brandon Graham. Came from the University of Michigan. He dominated the Senior Bowl and a lot of that post-combine process. And he really showed me a lot in that, but he landed on the Eagles and nothing really happened. They moved up, got a guy Fletcher Cox a couple of years ago out of Mississippi State. They have guys like, I believe his name's Nick Wolf, who's an outside linebacker. Then you throw in Michael Kendricks, I believe, is the linebacker.
So, what's his name?
Yeah.
Melvin, motherfucking. His name is Robert Paulson.
His name is Robert Paulson.
Go. It was fucking Melvin Ingram. Melvin Ingram is the linebacker for the San Diego Chargers.
Hey, who is it? Right.
And then they have a couple guys. They added the piece from New Orleans, Malcolm Jenkins at safety. There's a lot of young guys, talent on that defense that, to me, is one of those teams that's not going to be a shutdown defense, but they have a strong offense, and if they make enough turnovers, then they really have to have those lopsided scores.
Which they showed they can do last week.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Who do you got, Mark? Or
Ron.
This one. One over.
Looking past you.
Ron's the tall guy in the middle.
You look very similar. You have to say.
Yeah, fair enough.
Must be the glasses.
Tall, dark, and handsome. You know, I mean, yeah.
I have, many of the same teams in a slightly different order. I've got the Broncos coming off a bye week as number 1. I think what they did in the last 2 minutes of the regular time for the game against the Seahawks was fantastic. I just think that it's taken a little bit extra time for them to get started this year.
Okay.
I do think that their weapons will start to really materialize and move forward in the games to come.
Welker back.
They got
Definitely,
Welker
they got Welker
so.
back. I mean, even it took half a game to get him really back involved, but they started throwing at him, and he was making moves. So
Right.
Yeah.
Demaryius Thomas wasn't targeted the way he should have been in the first half. Brought him back.
Right.
And I mean, to bring the ball from deep in your own territory all the way through in 40 seconds in Seahawks home stadium, that's not an easy thing to do,
Yeah.
right?
No, yeah.
So
Sure.
there's something to be said with that. I think that they've got to work out some kinks. They're coming off a rest, so I think they're going to be strong.
Okay.
Number 2, I've got the Chargers. I have been high on Phillip Rivers for years and years and years, ever since he didn't go to the Giants, which I'm actually thrilled with. It's fine. History told the rest. But I really think the Chargers are fantastic. You're right, their run game is a little bit slow.
Yep.
I think that's going to get started, and I think you really have to put your trust in Phillip Rivers. The defense is mediocre. I think they're going to end up, being shootouts every game. But
I think an underrated defense.
I
Something
think that's
again
a
one
good
of those
call.
young
Similar
guys
like
with
the
talent.
Eagles,
You're going to see them
Yep.
grow up this year.
Yeah, and I just think Phillip Rivers he's such a veteran, and he's so collected, and he just makes games happen and makes wins happen. So I feel great about them. And the wild card choice here is the Lions. I think maybe they're a little bit inflated. I like Matthew Stafford. I think if he's going to start controlling the turnovers, you're right.
Yep.
I think that once the O-line starts tightening things up, get a running game more established, he's got the weapons. He's got the fans behind him. I think he's going to do big things this season.
He's got Megatron.
Yeah, he definitely has Megatron. It's all one needs,
You can't
right?
win with Megatron. What the hell are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
I think that was the 11th commandment.
Oh.
And I think actually the other thing that the Lions may benefit from, to your point, is kind of a weakened top of that division. Right?
Totally.
You've seen Chicago be very mortal, and the same thing with Green Bay.
Yeah.
And, I think that division is up for grabs. I think it's going to be actually a really fun one to watch. So I had basically the same top 4 teams. Bengals, because I think they're incredibly talented on the defensive side of the ball. Offensive doesn't get any less talented. Marvin Lewis has been one of the few guys who's been coaching for more than 5 years for his team. He hasn't won it when it counts, so we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, as far as Andy Dalton, who I'm not a fan of. Seahawks, for the obvious reasons, they only lost 1 game against San Diego, which was a losable game. The Chargers are a top 5
They're still
team.
in top 5, so
it's not like they went out there and lost to a middling team like the Cowboys or something.
Who knows? I don't know.
I had to throw that in there. Broncos, they're only behind the Seahawks because they lost to them, and Team A beats Team B, so on, transitive property. But I agree with you. Coming out of the bye, they're going to be stronger on offense. Now they have Welker, who's gotten some practice and some rhythm back with Peyton. As long as Monty Ball can hold on to the football, then I think that offense really kicks. Obviously, we've talked about their defensive improvements on the show ad nauseum, so I'm not even going to go over them. The Chargers, totally agree. I do think they have to get the running game a little bit more squared away, but they do have great young guys on the line. DJ Fluker. The defense is, I think, very complete and very young talent. One guy to watch is a linebacker out of South Carolina who plays that 3-4 and pass rush position, and he's absolutely fantastic. I wish I could remember his fucking name
I'm sitting here waiting for the name. I'm like, who is this guy?
It's gonna kill me. Anyway,
it's all right.
I'll get to it later. I'll just throw it out randomly in the show, and you'll know what I'm
There
talking
we
about.
go.
So my 5th spot is going to the Baltimore Ravens.
All right.
Who have
I
only
can
lost
that.
1 game, and that's to the Cincinnati Bengals. And
fair
that was
enough.
a game that they were getting crushed in, but they managed to bend, not break in the red zone, force field goals, and managed to make a run at the end. Joe Flacco's not my favorite quarterback. He's not an amazing playmaker, but he does just enough. He seems to just do enough. People might be a little scared away by the fact they lost Dennis Pitta, but I don't think he was that good to begin with.
He wasn't a major part of their plays to begin. He would come in for a big gain here and there, but the tight end on the Ravens wasn't a big part of their playmaking.
No,
so.
and people thought it would be this year with Garrett Kubiak coming, but you look at it, he started 11 games in a 5-year career. We're not talking about Vernon Davis, we're talking about Jimmy Graham here. We're talking about a tight end, literally.
He just has to fill the slot.
Exactly,
That's
he
it.
just has to play his position,
Yep.
and I think Owen Daniels does that famously as a backup. And their defense is what's really impressive to me thus far. Their ability to stop the run, their ability just to seemingly shut down teams who then go on to crush other opponents. You looked at Pittsburgh, they shut them down in week 2. Pittsburgh goes out and absolutely hands it to Carolina. They did an absolutely great job with Carolina this week, which was not a tough offensive matchup. I just love what they have on the talent. They have maybe, I counted earlier, and they have maybe 7 or 8 first-round picks or priority free agents that they brought in on that front 7. Timmy Jernigan, great D tackle on national championship Florida State Seminoles last year. C.J. Mosley could be a defensive rookie of the year. He's leading their team in tackles as a rookie. That's unheard of. You've got Courtney Upshaw. You still got Terrell Suggs. They've got Elmas Dumerville. You look across Haloti Nada, you look at that team, and they've got amazing talent on defense.
Who's the guy with the sick dance moves again?
Tony Farrell? He actually has a tackle, I saw that.
He's got more than just moves.
Yeah, right.
I'd like to see them pressure the passer a little bit more. Elmas Dumerville has 3.5 of their 4 sacks as a team, but on the whole, I believe this team is very complete. Offense isn't amazing, but they're committing to the run game.
Yep.
They're making the passes they need to make, and Steve Smith's the guy to catch them for you if you're going to have someone making those big plays. And I've just been really impressed with them, and I think that they're going to... This is back to smash mouth football in the AFC North.
Yes.
I love that that's back, and it's going to be really exciting to see how the Bengals and Ravens shake out the rest of the year. So those are our power rankings. Top four, you basically know: Bengals, Seahawks, Broncos, Chargers, and then you can take your pick on which fifth you like better. Ravens. We had Eagles,
Lions, a little bit of a reach, maybe a little bit more of a roar sometimes.
Hey, that's all right. I reached to the Eagles, so that's cool.
Yeah.
That's
You got to make the upside play.
You have
know
to,
what I mean?
right?
Every once in a while. So we're going to take a little break, but when we come back, we're going to do our deep dive into KC San Francisco, something very close, near and dear to our friend Mark's heart.
Oh, this is gonna be tough.
That's as America as it fucking gets. Nice.
No, this is a great
I want to do the
conversation.
handy. I want to do the handy where I get the football.
Yeah! Welcome back to the front office. This next segment, we're going to go balls deep into our deep dive. It's the matchup that's coming up that we're most interested in. We think is going to be a really good battle. We're interested to see how it's going to turn out. It's really important to me because we're talking about my team playing against the former head of our team, San Francisco, playing Kansas City at home in our new stadium.
Yep.
So
So much old meets new.
Yeah.
Blue
Oh, it's
jeans
great.
everywhere.
Yes.
Just everywhere.
Oh, it's
Is
gonna
it
be
Blue Jean
great.
Day at the stadium?
I think that's every day at the
That's every-
stadium.
that's
So they were playing very poorly at Levi's Stadium, and I came up with a saying for what you should be describing it as. It's the Levi Stadium
Where's that?
Blues.
Where's that?
There-
Levi Stadium
there it
Blues.
is.
I like
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Hashtag.
They'll never be able to
Hashtag.
just get that one.
No. Maybe Brett Favre will come back and play for them. Then it'll be
Hey,
full circle.
all right.
No,
I
he's
beat
got
you out.
exclusivity with Wrangler.
Oh, it's
They
Wrangler.
will live 15 miles to that stadium.
Yeah, fair enough. We're going to ixnay that now.
All right.
This is going to be interesting. The
Yes.
San Francisco just came off a win, but it was a tough win.
Shaky as could be.
Yeah, I mean, all right. I'm gonna apologize to the Niners because I did pick the Eagles to win, but that was a little reverse psychology. I picked them to win. They stepped up, got it done. But
I was just thinking about that because when I picked the Rams to lose to the Buccaneers, because I was like, oh, of course we're gonna lose to the Buccaneers.
Right.
Then we won that game.
Exactly.
And then I finally started picking them, and they started losing.
yeah, but I'm glad that they won at home. But it wasn't a very good win for them. They needed to at their new stadium because they lost their first game at home. But now we also have Alex Smith and the Kansas City Chiefs coming into the San Francisco's new home after he just put a beat down on Tom Brady and the Patriots.
Yeah.
And as you know, I'm a huge Alex Smith fan, not a huge fan of Colin Kaepernick. So this is going to be a great matchup. I mean, these are both two teams that they've had rough starts so far. I mean, Kansas City, they lost a couple games. They've had some injuries, and Jamal Charles hasn't shown up. But then Jamal Charles comes back, shows up in a big way with 3 touchdowns, and that's what the Chiefs need. And if they keep doing that, Niners might be in a little bit of trouble here. And especially with San Francisco, their defense is still a little bit questionable. They still make plays, but they've got a lot going on.
Injured.
Yeah, it's tough. So, what's your take on what's going to happen?
You know, Kansas City was really impressive.
Very.
They shucked the proverbial New England clam.
Hashtag.
But San Francisco, if you look at what they did against Philadelphia, they absolutely shut down LaShawn McCoy. I think he had 5 yards rushing,
Yeah.
something absurd like that. And you take away the rushing game and the short passing game of Kansas City, and they're nowhere to be found. They love to throw the flats, they love to run their drag routes and their crossing routes, and they like to hand off to Jamal Charles.
Yeah.
You take that away, which New England absolutely could not do. You take that away, they become very stoppable.
Yeah.
I think, based on track record, and again, you talked about measuring sticks earlier in the show, from what I've seen, which isn't a lot, San Francisco has the ability to stop them, their running game, and make them throw the ball.
Yeah.
That being said, I loved the emergence of Travis Kelce, who is I've been a long-time fan of
We've been
the
talking
show.
about him a lot.
I believe the Gronk comparisons are completely valid.
Amazing.
And he's the guy a tight end to be able to take a screen pass, a quick screen pass, make a move, and then run for 30 yards is very rare in this league. That, I don't know if that is going to add a new dimension to this offense that's going to make it a difficult matchup for San Francisco.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. The thing that I'll look at, though, is that gives Kansas City a little bit of the boost, because I said it before, I'm an Alex Smith fan. The guy doesn't turn over the ball. Like, he makes great passes,
right.
even in that short game. Even if you got a tough defense, the guy puts the ball where he wants to. He's perfect in that offense. That's why they took him to Kansas City. I'm glad he found a home there. So, and honestly, with the injuries that San Francisco has suffered in their linebacker and secondaries, he might be able to make it work.
Plus, there's a chip on his shoulder, too.
Yeah.
There's a big part of that. I honestly think this is
Talk
going to be...
about revenge games.
Yeah,
right?
this is it.
There you go.
I really think this is going to be an easy game for the Chiefs to pull out. Kaepernick does not look good at all.
He doesn't.
I
really
don't
bad.
have any faith. His O-line can't protect him. Throughout the game, what did he get sacked? 4, 5, 6 times?
Yeah.
I think somewhere in that range. It was a lot of sacks. I really don't think he...
A couple weeks ago, he had 4 turnovers.
Yeah, a lot of turnovers. You watch the game, he's throwing the ball away, he's throwing it behind his receivers, he's messing up the routes. I have no faith in him that he's able to scramble out under the pressure.
Yeah.
And I think that, coupled with the fact that Alex Smith is really on fire right now.
Yeah.
He's got some great weapons on his team, and I really think that they're gonna bulldoze.
Yeah.
Oh,
and that's one of the things I like that you said too is Colin Kaepernick, like when he gets rushed out of the pocket, the first year that he came out, he did really well at that. People were not expecting what he can do. Now that people know what he can do, they're cutting that off.
Yeah.
You've seen, you see some design run plays for Kaepernick that they pull off, but that's not where all the magic came from. It also came from him just scrambling to get the first down. He did well. He's not doing that
Well,
anymore.
we also got Crabtree is hurt.
Yeah.
We've got Davis who's questionable week to week.
Right.
Frank Gore has been doing a great job. I don't know if he's going to be able to get through this KC line, honestly. So
That you brought up something that I'm very encouraged by the last game for the 49ers. That's when they went back to their bread and butter, which is the power run game with Frank Gore.
Yes.
Yep.
I read a stat online today that was they had over 100 yards rushing outside of the tackles or outside the hash marks, which was the most in the past 2 seasons in the NFL.
Yeah.
And I'm super excited to see them getting back to that because again I think that's their bread and butter. And I love Carlos Hyde as a talent, but I looked at it and I was like, why is Frank? I've been confused all across the NFL with the lack of commitment to a run game. New England, I think, could have had a chance in that game if they had come out and run the ball, even when they were down 14-0. They were down 14-0, I think, late first quarter.
Yeah.
That's still plenty of time to run the ball, and I don't know what the obsession is with scoring, with passing all the time.
Yeah, and that's the thing that we've talked about before is committing to the run game. Even if you're not putting up some yards, you're not putting up a lot of yards. We talked about the Chargers had, what game was it, 2 weeks ago when they committed to the run game.
Right.
They were only putting up
30+
3
rushes,
yards.
2 yards a carry.
And they still beat the Seahawks. They still, because the thing is like you got to have both sides of the offense working. Because if all you're doing is throwing, that's all the defense has to prepare
and
for.
your play action doesn't sell.
Yeah,
you don't have that extra
exactly.
step in between the zones, and it's just a different.
100%.
And something in our conversation off camera we talked about. I was talking about the New England game, and I was again shocked that they didn't run the ball more because you talk about when you have problems in pass protection, one of the ways to help combat that is get your linemen going forward and not on their heels every single play.
Right.
You're going to get pushed over, you're going to get outrun, they're going to guess your snap counts. One of the ways that Jeff Fisher talks about this all the time in St. Louis, one of the ways you do that power running game is you get some confidence, you get some mean and some tenacity in your offensive linemen, so when they are in pass blocking situations, A, the defensive line doesn't know it's coming, but B, they have that amped up, that adrenaline, that anger that takes to go and hit somebody on the other side of the line. So I'm really curious to see how this plays out. I think if San Francisco can come in and run the ball against KC, it makes it a winnable game for them. Yeah. But if they come out and start just slinging around with Kaepernick and don't try, I don't know.
All right, so let's talk predictions then. Jordan, what do you got?
Guess first.
No, okay, Ron, yes, first.
Oh, jeez, I don't know if the spread's out yet or what the spread is, but I've got KC by a touchdown.
Okay.
All right.
I think Alex Smith is gonna pull this one out. I'm gonna take it by like 3-4 points, classic San Francisco score like we saw last week.
Yeah. I made a mistake last week, okay? I'm not gonna do it again. And you guys better back me on this. I'm taking San Francisco at a close game, 27-24.
Wow.
Wow, you're
Okay.
back to calling Kaepernick.
I am. I love you,
Okay.
Alex Smith. I'm glad to see
You
you're
gotta go
doing
with the
well,
future,
but I gotta go with my team. So that's my call.
Oh,
All right.
boy. So that's our deep dive, our giving balls deep, as we're going to call it from now on. When we come back, we're going to hit our 2-minute drill, get every matchup of this upcoming week when we come back.
Up and then just throw it at
There
the
you go.
camera.
Or a little paper football.
Do it.
Oh, that's a
we
good
got
one.
something like that, right?
Well, yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? Just
Right at Leo there.
Omaha! All right, boys.
Red 42.
Rover, 52. All right, we're going to run our 2-minute offense. Starting off, Minnesota at Green Bay. I'm going to take Green Bay at home. I think that offense started clicking. I love Teddy Bridgewater. I think it's going to be like a 35-28 game, but Green Bay's taking it.
Good.
Yep.
I'm up?
Yeah.
This is how it goes, down line.
Yeah,
All right,
line.
perfect.
Bingo.
Atlanta at New York Giants. Fanboy alert, New York Giants. I think they're going to step up this game. I think Eli's playing better. I think the run game's going to start hitting, and the Giants will win.
All right. I got Buffalo at Detroit. I'm taking Detroit. Buffalo's still a little shaky. Detroit's playing at home. I think they have the better team all around. I'm taking Detroit.
All right. Kyle Orton's starting that game, most likely, by the way. Baltimore at Indy. I'm gonna take my Ravens because I just chose them for the top 5. I'm very curious to see how they work against Andrew Luck and this offense, but I'm gonna take Baltimore on the road here.
And I have Seattle at Washington. Probably not even worth mentioning, but I think Seattle's going to win this one, no problem.
That's shocking.
All right. Yeah.
Why'd you?
To give the new guy the
Sorry,
easy
Leo.
one. Try to fuck my stats.
There you go. Yeah.
Next up, I got Cleveland at Tennessee, and I'm going to go with Cleveland on this one. I'm not impressed with Tennessee. Cleveland's coming off a bye week.
You said that like
Jordan
I should
Cameron's
be
going to be
surprised.
back. Yeah, I'm just whatever.
Tennessee's like awful.
Yeah, it's going to be Cleveland's game.
All right. Chicago at Carolina. Besides how bad Carolina is right now and how much of a downturn they've had over the past couple games, Riverboat Ron has done quite, not this one, the other one, has done quite a good job at making things work for this team, and I believe this might be a game Jay Cutler starts the turnover machine early. Carolina's going to take this at home.
Houston at Dallas, a Texas shootout this weekend.
Ooh.
I really like Dallas in this one. The run game's starting up. Tony Romo, he is not injured yet. I think he's going to start targeting better. I think he's going to play a better game. They're playing at home. I'm going with Dallas.
All right, Dallas. All right, my next two are easy. I mean, this one's Tampa Bay at New Orleans. New Orleans. Enough said. Tampa Bay might have just won a game, but they barely won that, and it might have been a little bit of luck, but it's in New Orleans. It's done.
Okay, easy enough. Cincinnati and New England. My top team in the league versus the team that just got their butts kicked by the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to take Cincinnati on the road. I don't think things get any easier on offense against this defense.
I've got Arizona at Denver. I really think Denver is going to come off their bye week strong. I'd be betraying my top 5 if I did not pick the Denver Broncos for this game.
Nice. All right, last one I got is Pittsburgh at Jacksonville. Once again, another easy one in my book. I'm taking Pittsburgh because it's Jacksonville. And Pittsburgh still is a better team all around. Even if they're going into Jacksonville, they're going to clean up after their last game, I think, and take that one. So.
All right. St. Louis at Philadelphia. We always like to give the homer picks to the people who root for that team. I'm going to take St. Louis, and I'm probably going to regret that in the end, but I still believe. And I think that's, if St. Louis, Missouri, and the Rams fans have shown anything, it's that we have unquestionable, unwavering faith when there's no reason to have it. And then
It's the next best story to the Cleveland Browns.
of course. And then I think I can speak for all of us. I left one off, but it's the New York Staten Island Jets at the San Diego Chargers. I think we all agree that the Chargers win that game. Chargers it is. So that's every game done. I believe we scored a touchdown on that last 2-minute offense.
Beautiful.
I'm gonna keep them up. I'm gonna keep them up.
For San Francisco. That's a touchdown for San Francisco.
So this is the front office. As always, you can send us your questions at thefrontoffice@gmail.com or tweet us at thefocast. Once again, my name is Jordan.
My name is Ron.
I'm Mark.
Thanks Ron for joining the show this week.
Pleasure.
You did a great job.
Thanks, Leo, for filming. You're the man.
Thank you, Leo.
You did a great job. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.
There's the notes.
Oh wait, you gotta keep your picks. We gotta know how we did.
That's why I didn't turn
I
it.
tore up last one.